All right, welcome back to Africa's Finest Breakfast Show. It's Global Morning, and it's time for us to look at Tinubu's private trips, the implication for Nigeria. My guest is Oche Emmanuel, a legal practitioner and activist, so to say. Oche, nice to have you in the studio.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, has condemned the president's trip to France, saying they're taking us back to the era of Muhammadu Buhari, the ex-president, and they're proposing that probably we should have a health check and a fitness check for anybody who wants to become president of the country. For you, how do you look at this, issue playing out again?
Well, for me, it's a worrisome situation, very worrisome, because we've had litany of issues with presidents who have to spend more time abroad than they would do in Nigeria, especially on medical trip. When Buhari was the president, President Muhammadu Buhari was in government, he was heavily criticized by some of us for always traveling abroad for health check. Graciously, he's a human being who valued the fact that he needs to be healthy to govern the country. Tinubu himself was, at the time, on the crossroad about the reason why the president will have to visit the UK most of the time for his medical trip. But today we found out that Tinubu has become the foster father of foreign medical tourism. And it is worrisome because this is taxpayers' money that is being spent. And as a president, there is nothing about the president that is done by himself. Don't forget that this trip is not just him alone. He travels with retinue of aides, and of course, the farafarinia of government as well. So for us, it's going to be a very good idea if we have to at least set a bar for any president who will emerge in the future about their health condition. They should be subjected to serious medical consideration before they are given the opportunity to contest in our political parties. Unfortunately, in a third world country like Nigeria, what political parties look at is just money, money and then money. There's nothing more. So it's a very unfortunate situation that whereas the president is supposed to be having his treatment in the country and governing the country, we find out that most of the time there are medical tourism abroad. Unfortunately, let me even add again, recently, the former president of Sierra Leone came to Nigeria for treatment. So if other presidents are coming to Nigeria for treatment, why are we rushing elsewhere for treatment?
Okay, can we look at this? Is there any legal implications, the fact, and are you disappointed that civil society organizations are not chewing on these facts? Can there be any legal implication in terms of legal suing the president or the presidency for not diverging where he was heading to, knowing fully well that they're using taxpayers' money? The plane that is going to be parked in France is going to be in the hangar, and per day there's amount to be paid. Do they have the right to do this without informing the Nigerian populace? Ordinarily,
the president should not even travel abroad for any health reason without telling Nigerians the condition of his health. The country he governs, because once you become a president, you are no longer a man of your own self, you are a public person. You submitted yourself to the public. And so every activities of yourself will have to be subjected to public scrutiny. In this case, in Nigeria, there are laws regulating such frivolous trips. There are laws also compelling the president to declare and tell the country their status of health. Don't forget that the condition of health of a president can be a ground for impeachment as well. So for some of them, they are a bit careful about declaring because it could be a ground for their removal. However, we hope that in the days ahead, the civil societies will be able to pressure on the National Assembly to legislate on clear-cut conditions that will warrant a president traveling abroad. Not just when they have headache or stomach pain or they are not sure of what they are thinking about. They go abroad to go and spend our money in hospitals and then waste our taxpayers' money. It is very unhealthy. It is not economical at all.
Okay, the coalition of the United Political Parties have also they suggested that probably whatever illness it is, the equipment should be brought into the country for him to receive his treatment. How feasible is that? And is this sort of an indictment on the health sector of the country? Shouldn't the president be technically ashamed that he has to seek medical care outside the shores of the country? We've never seen the U.S. president going to Germany or coming to Nigeria to seek medical care.
The question is, why have we not gotten it right up to this moment? Those countries that have some of the best technologies in our medical field, they didn't bring them from heaven. They are manufactured all over the world, and those countries that have competence to manufacture those products, we should apply to them to give us those technology, or even buy from them and mount it in this country. We can employ even the medical personnel. Right now, you have been hearing about the Japa syndrome, particularly as it affects our medical professionals. Today, they are all over. They have all gone. They have all left the country. Most of the best brain in this medical field. Why are they leaving? You'll be surprised that the reason is just simply because they don't have the technological wherewithal to practice what they have studied. And of course, the pay is also discouraging. Now, some of these people who are going abroad still get there and get retrained. Why don't you bring them back? Why don't we get those equipment and install it in our hospital facilities in the country, and then let there be quality, affordable access to medical, treatment in the country? They are just comfortable with spending our money abroad. And yet we keep blaming Europeans, blaming Americans for our woes. We are the first enemy of ourselves.
Looking at the coalition, who says the timing of his visit was wrong, do you agree with them that the timing of the president's exit from the country was wrong? And would you say Kashim Shettima is a worthy replacement?
Well, I'm not using the word replacement at the moment. He might be an acting president, or even a vice president still remaining, not even an acting president. But the essence of being a vice president is for him to so do when the president is not available. So,
but has he played the role like we saw in the other time when we had Professor Shibajo, like feeling, even when the president didn't hand over to him, he filled in so smoothly that at a point there were issues as regards that he was taking the shine away from the president, that some in the kitchen cabinet had to hurry up the president to return back.
Yeah, he hasn't had that period, that duration of time that the former vice president Shibajo had. The former vice president was at the time allowed to be in office for an upward of about 5 months or 4 months or thereabout. And within that time, he was able to reject part of the security apparatchik. Don't forget that the DSS at that time, he had to step in to ensure that the proper thing was done there. And so many other decisions in the banking, in the finance sector. Yeah. In this case, Mr. Tinubu has not been away for that long, so we wouldn't know what the vice president is made up of. But I think he has a worthy vice president. By the way, we saw him at Davos a few weeks ago, and he was courageous. He told the world that Nigeria will not come to such huge economic meeting with cap in hand begging. So for us, for such vice president, who knows that such statement will automatically put some of the awardee creditors on a red alert. Who knows the implication of such statements? Still going ahead to make such statement in international meeting of that nature. He's a courageous person, and so if you have the opportunity locally, you can take decisions that will move Nigeria forward.
Okay, for the international, the professional bodies across the country, we've not had any of them raise issues as regards this sudden trip of Mr. President without due, informing the Nigerian people. Would we say the bodies like MBA, the NMA, and others are also docile when it comes to speaking on national issues? Is it because of their benefits, their interests they're trying to protect?
Yeah, the first culprit in this allegation should be the Nigerian Medical Association. they should have been the first to, push for a legislation that will enable the National Assembly of Nigeria legislate on the matter that will compel all sitting presidents to get themselves treated of some illness.
Or get approval from the enemy before traveling out.
Fantastic. Let there be some kind of medical recertification of whatever their condition is from the NMA before traveling out. And such certification should mean that maybe the Nigerian medical facility is not, in good condition to attend to such things. Fine and good. So the NMA who have refused to, raise dust on this issue is complicit. It simply means that they are more interested in the political activities of NMA than ensuring the core values for which they were, registered. And for the NBA, ours is just to ensure that when it goes contrary to our regulation, the laws, then we can help them to interpret it and, of course, prescribe good punishment using the court as a medium of an arbitration.
Okay, in terms of the timing, would you say the timing is bad? Now we're facing multiple facets of insecurity and also the inflation rate and all that. Is there any better time for the president to travel? Or his health status should determine when he travels, regardless of what was happening in the country?
When it's on the head ground, there is no better time. Then when it's on the head ground and the president needed to have a check, there's no better time. So for me, the reason for his trip, since it is based on health, which is a natural situation, there couldn't have been any better time.
But if by the time he returns in the first week of February, if he denies going on a trip based on health grounds, can anybody be held responsible since we were not told, giving room for speculations?
Of course, I'm sure that there's no smoke without fire. This speculation may have had root from some of the things happening within the president's inner kitchen. So, but if he denies, then he has to tell us where he went to. Because whatever trip, like I said, the personality of the president, the office he occupies, gives him access to taxpayers' money. And whatever trip, whatever thing he does, in the shores or out of the shores of this country, it is taxpayers' money. So if you spend it anyhow, you have to be also questioned anyhow. So if he comes back, Nigeria will have to know, what did you do with the money? But if he went on medical tourism, like we're talking about, then we'll have to ask him why has he not brought such facility to the country so that he can be treated? Because he alone knows what is wrong with him.
Okay, my final question before we call it a wrap now. Let's look at speaking legally now, yes. Can the Nigerian people file to the hospital where he has gone to access this care, demanding for them to furnish them details of whatever the president has gone to do? Do they have the right, legally speaking?
We have freedom of information bill in the country, but we don't know if they have freedom of information in France. But the civil societies and the citizens of this country can take the president, the Attorney General, the Minister of Health, or whosoever is in charge, or his personal physician, can take him to tax, or take them to tax on the condition of health of the president. They can go to court and compel him, because we have freedom of information in Nigeria, and so you can have access to it. But if the president refuses, then
what can be done if he refuses?
You can explore the regulations in France. You can explore it. You can write to them. Of course, in this same country, during the election petition, if you recall, yes, the president's document, his proof certificate were in question. And of course, the presidential candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, because he couldn't get what he wanted in the country, he went to the United States and applied that the document be given to him. And we know we got it. So in the same vein, Nigerians who are interested in knowing exactly what is wrong can apply to the hospital and use the legal jurisdiction in France to get the document they want. Once the document gets here and it is properly certified, it becomes a legal document that can be used for or against the president.
All right, now we just thought we cleared that air so that you know what you can do in case you're very curious where the president went to or what he has gone to do in France, whether to have a taste of the Bordeaux wine or probably to get his health checked, then you can apply like the legal practitioner Oche Mane has told us. Oche, it's a pleasure having you in the studio. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much and good morning.
All right, so that's how we're going to call it a wrap to Africa's Finest Breakfast Show, Global Morning on Global Television. My name is Anthony Mombondi saying thank you for joining us to this episode. I want to say on behalf of my co-anchor, Jumai Manson, and the rest of the entire production team, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day.